I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Hey, what's poppin', my homies? What's good? We're back. The week off is finished. This is going to be UFC France, UFC Paris. The first time the UFC has gone to France. Hey guys, that week off, I did miss you guys, but at the same time, that head kick, their head kick, oh my goodness. I think we all needed a week off to process and appreciate that head kick. It's one of the best moments the UFC has ever seen. Look at me now. Look at me now. You all doubted me. Look at me now. Leon Edwards, okay. Madness. Now, before we get into the UFC predictions, we're gonna go to MoneyCity. How many people took Leon Edwards? How many did it? Not many. Alright, first MoneyCity comment is from Sean. Last week looking rough until my Cheeto KO sub came in. Easy money. Gonna put some money on Edwards. Look at me now. Look at me now. Okay, let's go. That's money. Another Sean. Costa, Pedro, Albazi, Woodson. I mean, there's a void with Woodson, but it's money. That's money. Let's go. Alright, we've got Jordan Kinney, Costa, Maverick, Woodson, Albazi. There's two voids. There's two voids, but it's still money. That's money, Jordan. Let's go. Alright, next Money City. Keegan, Leon, Marab, Sean Woodson, Money City. Look at me now. Look at me now. Let's go, Keegan. That's money. Alright, this Money City plays from my boy Pike. Under 2.5 in the main event. Under 2.5 with Marab and Dvalishvili. And the Maverick money line, it was going to be money. But, you know, Shana Young got scared. Essentially cashing a parlay of over 2.5s. That's money. Let's go. And the last Money City comment is going to be from Hickstar, an OG on the channel. This guy is always dropping the information. A complete OG. Arichi Lang, Angalusa, Marab Dvalishvili. And he even said, look, tough assignment for Edwards. Hope he can do it. He did. Look at me now. Let's go. Alright, sparkle your blunts for the French brothers on this card. We're going to Paris. Let's go. Alright, I'm going to start by saying this one is definitely low-level women's mixed martial arts. You see with Ailin Perez, this girl's not too bad, you know, kind of scrappy, kind of powerful, likes to clinch up against the fence. But against Stephanie Egger, you don't really want to clinch, right? We see that with Jessica Rose Clark. Jessica Rose Clark tried to grapple Stephanie Egger. She got taken to the mat and then she got subbed. Now, that's not really what happened with Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra Bueno Silva, you know, she subbed Stephanie Egger and Stephanie was like, I didn't tap. And to be honest, guys, when I watched that replay like 100 times, I don't see the tap either. You know, kind of an overeem situation going on there. But yeah, that's what this matchup is. It's going to be low-level women's mixed martial arts. If Ailin Perez chooses to grapple Stephanie Egger, then she might get subbed, right? Stephanie Egger has good jiu-jitsu, good judo. Guys, if you put the gun to my head and I've got to make a pick, I would have to side with the experience of Stephanie Egger in this matchup. And the main reason why I'm going to do that, I just think if Perez clinches, she might get taken to the mat. And if you get taken to the mat, Stephanie Egger works her BJJ, maybe finds a sub. So yeah, low-level women's mixed martial arts. I'm going to side with Stephanie Egger to win this matchup. Alright, moving into the next matchup on this card, we've got Khalid Taha taking on Cristian Quinonez. Now, Khalid Taha, man, let's just revisit his whole UFC career. I was at his UFC debut, which was against Nad Narimani, and this was in Germany. I was like one of the only ones rooting for Nad Narimani. You know, big German crowd, a lot of people there to support Khalid Taha in the UFC debut. And that was a good fight, you know, a lot of wrestling, a lot of scrambling, good grappling. And Nad Narimani just got the better of Khalid Taha. After that UFC debut, had a good fight with, well, it wasn't really a good fight. It was a quick fight. It was over in like 20 seconds against Boston Salmon, a nice TKO. Then he had a nice win against Bruno Silva, which was a good fight. And the win came later on. You know, arm triangle choke real late. Then he kind of got outclassed by Raoni Barcelos and Sergei Morozov. But to summarise the fighter that is Khalid Taha, he's got good power. He kind of telegraphs his shots a little bit. And his wrestling, you know, his wrestling's okay. It's pretty good. Now on the flip side, looking at Cristian Quinonez, who's getting the opportunity on really short notice. This guy kind of showed a nice ability in the contender. You know, the kicks are pretty good. He's scrappy, he's tough. And Quinonez was actually supposed to fight Youssef Zalal earlier this month. And you could say Khalid Taha, in a way, it's an easier matchup in the striking. You know, it's a different matchup because Youssef Zalal has good footwork. He's pretty quick. And that's not really what Khalid Taha's all about. You know, Khalid Taha's happy to plant his feet. You know, happy to throw that power. But just speaking about his UFC career, you know, Raoni Barcelos, Sergei Morozov, these guys are good guys. You know, this is a big step down in competition for Khalid Taha. So purely for those reasons, guys, I'm going to side with Khalid Taha to win this fight. Maybe he can use his wrestling to outclass Cristian Quinonez. It's a good matchup. You know, the bookie has it lined pretty close. But I'd have to side with the experience of Khalid Taha in a short notice matchup. Alright, moving into a matchup between Benoit Saint-Denis taking on Gabriel Miranda. Guys, Benoit Saint-Denis, we already know this, but I'm going to repeat it. Benoit was in the special forces, not only physically tough, but mentally tough, right? And you kind of see that in the UFC debut of Benoit Saint-Denis. You know, he got absolutely dusted by Zaleski. Didn't give up, you know, didn't give up. And the ref kind of needed to be shot. You know what I'm saying? Shoot that ref. That's a bad ref. Now on the flip side, you've got Gabriel Miranda, who does seem to have some pretty good jiu-jitsu, but I'm not sure it's going to matter too much in this type of matchup. If you look at Benoit Saint-Denis against Nicholas Stoltzfus, which was his last matchup, the takedown was strong, the jiu-jitsu was strong, the grappling, just all of it, right? The grappling was good. I have looked at the tape of Gabriel Miranda and I've noticed that a few of his opponents have been able to take him to the mat. And if those guys can get him to the mat, I think Benoit Saint-Denis can definitely get a takedown in this matchup. So really it comes down to, can Gabriel Benitez find a submission off his back or find a submission on the way to the mat? For me, guys, I'm going to side with Benoit Saint-Denis. I really like what he done in his last matchup. And this opponent, you know, Gabriel Miranda, I think he's getting dusted. I'm taking Benoit Saint-Denis. Alright, moving into a good matchup, man. Nassourdine, Imavov and Buckley. This is a good one. You know, Buckley is very, very dangerous. And we know Buckley's dangerous because he has one of the best knockouts in UFC history. Then he followed up that knockout with a complete dusteration of Jourdain Wright. Then he kind of got dusted by Alessio De Chirico, right, with the head kick. Then he fights Abdul Razak Al Hassan and he kind of turns into a little bit of a wrestler, right? As the fight ticks on, he turns into a bit of a wrestler. Then he gets given a wrestler in Albert Duraev, and we know that Albert Duraev is just like the Wish version of Hamzat, and Buckley just dusted him. Get dusted. So guys, would it be fair to say Buckley's on a nice run here, you know, put together some nice wins, looking good inside the octagon? Would it be fair to say that? I think it would. Now the flip side, looking at Nassourdine Imavov, this guy's very good. You know, this guy's basically another version of Ciryl Gane. And what I mean by that, if you look at the style of Nassourdine Imavov, it's very similar, right? He's so light on his feet. He's using a lot of kicks. He's trying to maintain distance. Now, the only time that Nassourdine Imavov has lost in the UFC, if you look at the performance Phil Hawes put on against him, he just pushed him against the fence. You know, just basically took away the striking ability of Nassourdine Imavov. Now guys, you put the gun to my head and I have to make a pick. All day I'm taking my doppelganger. I'm taking Nassourdine Imavov to win this matchup. Man, even the grappling work that Nassourdine showed against Edmund Shabazian on the mat, you know, crucifix with those elbows, man. Nassourdine's good. I'm picking Nassourdine. The only way I can see Buckley winning this matchup, he's just got to find a big shot or maybe push Nassourdine against the fence like Phil Hawes. But yeah, for me guys, I'm going to side with the Russian sniper. I like how it's difficult to compete against Nassourdine Imavov. He's so light, he's so quick, it's clean, it's technical, it looks good. Alright, moving into a matchup here between Faraz Ziam taking on Michael Figlak. Now this matchup, if you look at Faraz Ziam, he's quite a good calf kicker. Right, he likes to maintain distance. That's what he wants to do in his matchups. But if you look at the matchup against, say, Luigi Vendramini, you know, he kind of maintained distance well in this matchup. But the last round, there is no distance Luigi takes that away. And there's times like against Don Madge where Don Madge just pushes him against the fence. Terence McKinney in his last matchup, complete dusteration, took him to the mat, gets an early rear naked choke. There does seem to be a way to beat Faraz Ziam, and it appears to be take away the space, because that's what he wants to do. You know, he wants it to be technical. He wants to kick the opponent. Now, the problem with this matchup, guys, if you look at the opponent, Michal Figlak, this guy likes to fight with a high pressure, likes to stay in the opponent's face, and he's quite confident with his kickboxing. You know, his boxing's pretty good. It's pretty sharp. So I am seeing like two different styles here. I'm seeing Faraz Ziam, who wants to keep distance, wants to calf kick, doesn't really want to box too much, doesn't want it to be an ugly matchup. Then I'm seeing Michal Figlak use a lot of pressure, stay in the opponent's face, and look to use the boxing, you know, look to tee off. Guys, a lot of the time in mixed martial arts, the better fighter doesn't always win. A lot of the time, the better fighter does win too, but I was listening to an interview of Tanner Boser, and Tanner Boser basically mentioned round 1 will usually go to the more skilled fighter. Round 2 will usually go to the fighter that has better conditioning, and the last round will usually go to the fighter that has more heart, the guy who wants to win more. In my opinion, guys, I do kind of question the heart of Faraz Ziam. You know, this guy kind of wilts a little bit. He wants to fight his fight, but when adversity comes his way, you know, and it's not his fight, you can see the weaknesses. So what happens if Faraz Ziam, you know, he's maintaining distance early in the fight, landing the calf kick early in the fight, but then he kind of slows down a little bit. Then it's going to come down to, you know, who's got more heart, who's got better conditioning, who wants to win more. And that doesn't really seem to be Faraz Ziam if the fight goes late. So yeah, for me, guys, I'm going to side with Michal Figlak to win this fight. I've never really been that impressed with the fighter that is Faraz Ziam. I like his calf kicks. I like his technicality. But what happens when you can't maintain the technical side of your game? What happens when the fight turns ugly? I think what happens is Faraz Ziam kind of wilts. And when you look at the pressure of Michal Figlak, it looks pretty good. He looks like he wants to win the fight. So yeah, that's going to be my breakdown. Maybe Faraz Ziam starts well, but I think he's going to get broken by the pressure of Michal Figlak. So my pick, I'm going to side with the newcomer, Michal Figlak, to win this matchup. Moving into a matchup between Dustin Stoltzfus taking on Abus Magomedov. Now, stylistically, this matchup's going to be grappler versus grappler. Magomedov is a wrestler, and Dustin, he's all about the jiu-jitsu. So stylistically, you know, grappler versus grappler. So really, you're just going to pick who's the better grappler. Now, just before I make my pick on this matchup, and my pick is going to be the guy who is the better grappler, just before I make my pick, for those of you that don't know, Abus was competing in PFL. Abus made it to the final. He made it to the final where he was going to win the $1 million. My guy Abus got completely dusted in the final, and he was a big favourite. He got dusted. And here's the thing, guys, I'm not talking like a normal dusting. I'm talking complete dusteration. I'm talking Shadow City, you know what I'm saying? You know, my guy Abus was having a conversation with Ben Askren before he hit the mat. You know, the king of Shadow City, Ben Askren. So yeah, in my opinion, guys, if the fight stays on the feet, I'm not saying Dustin Stoltzfus is like a really good striker, because he's not. He's all about the BJJ. But when you see Abus get dusted the way he got dusted, you know what I'm saying? There's a small chance. There's a small chance it could happen if the fight stays on the feet. But what I think's most likely is what I said at the very start of this breakdown. Stylistically, this is grappler versus grappler. And I'm going to side with the guy who I believe is the better grappler. And that's going to be Abus Magomedov. This guy's a good wrestler. So I think he probably takes Dustin to the mat and wins that type of matchup. That's going to be my pick. Alright, my homies, let's go. If you waited to smoke with me, amen. If you've been smoking this whole time, double amen. If you're not a smoker but you enjoy the smoke breaks, that's a triple amen, gang. Let's go. Guys, I think we have to dedicate the smoke break to Leon Edwards. Look at me now, my goodness. Guys, madness. It's still a madness. You know, you can say what you want about the matchup. You could say Usman was gonna win, he should have won. You could say Leon got lucky. You can say whatever you want, but we do have to acknowledge that moment was one of the best moments we've ever seen. And the post-fight speech, you know, I'm a big believer of like, you've got to motivate yourself in life, right? You got to stay disciplined. You got to motivate yourself. But then you see that inspiration from Leon Edwards, man, talking about everyone doubted me. You know, how do you not get inspired? And I really wanted to pick Leon Edwards too, but when I realized it was at high elevation, I was like, nah, he's got 2 rounds. But it only takes 1 shot, 1 headshot, boom, dead. Amazing. Alright, let's get into breaking down this Paris card, the main card. Let's go. Alright, moving into a matchup between Charles Jourdain taking on Nathaniel Wood. Guys, I think this matchup is a very high level matchup and essentially a coin toss. And the reason why I'm going to say it's a coin toss, a 50-50 matchup, look at the opponents skill for skill. You know, look at Nathaniel Wood's boxing compared to Charles Jourdain. They're both really good boxers. Then you look at the calf kicks of Nathaniel. They're really good, but it's not like Charles Jourdain can't kick. So looking at the kickboxing, I think they're both very good there. But then you look at the grappling. Nathaniel Wood has very good wrestling, very good jiu-jitsu, but it's not like Charles Jourdain can't grapple. You know, he gets the guillotine against Lando Venata, and he also survived against Shane Burgos. You know, Shane Burgos had his back, and Charles Jourdain did beat Shane Burgos. That was a bad robbery. But yeah, like I said, I do believe this matchup is going to be a 50-50 matchup. I've got to side with the Englishman on this one, and the main reason why I'm going to do that, I just think the value is on Nathaniel Wood. Is 50-50. So whoever's over plus 100, that's going to be the value play. I'm not saying Charles Jourdain can't box, can't kick, can't grapple. He can do all of that. So can Nathaniel Wood. It's a good matchup. So yeah, I'm going to side with Nathaniel Wood, but yeah, it's a dangerous matchup to bet. Alright, moving into a matchup between William Gomis taking on Jarno Errands. Now, this matchup wasn't originally supposed to be on the France card, but we had a couple cancellations, and now we've got a random matchup. Now, guys, when you go look at the tape on Jarno Errands, his rear uppercut, his backhand uppercut, it's a beautiful weapon. He's going to be a Dutch kickboxer, whereas William Gomis, this guy kind of represents MMA more. He's more well-rounded. He's more of a grappler. He may choose to take down the opponent, but if this matchup stays on the feet, I really like the underdog in this matchup. So in my opinion, guys, it's really going to come down to who can implement their game plan. I think William Gomis should take the opponent to the mat. If he doesn't take the opponent to the mat, though, like I said, the Dutch kickboxer, that's going to be on display. I feel like it's one of those ones where if I pick Gomis, he's not going to grapple. If I pick Errands, he's going to get taken to the mat. He's going to get subbed. I'm going to side with the underdog to keep this one kickboxing. And now that I've made that pick, he probably gets taken to the mat. You know, just a random matchup that gets added last minute because of cancellations. I wouldn't put this one in your lineup. I wouldn't bet this one. Alright, moving into a matchup between Nasrat Hakparast taking on John Makdessi. I really like Nasrat in this matchup. And the main reason why I'm going to pick Nasrat to win this matchup, guys, everyone's got their time in mixed martial arts. I don't believe it's John's time anymore. There's a big age difference between Nasrat and Makdessi, like a 10-year age difference. And that kind of shows you, you know, John's been around for a long time. Whereas Nasrat's more like the new generation, you know. This he's good, man. Nasrat's good. Now, some people might speak about, you know, he lost to Bobby Green. But Bobby Green's one of the best boxers at lightweight. Some people might speak about the way he lost to Dan Hooker. But when you look up toughness in the dictionary, there's a picture of Dan Hooker. That guy's good. I was at the fight live in Germany when Nasrat fought Mark Diakisi, and Nasrat was only like 22 years old. And the pressure he put on Mark Diakisi, unbelievable. So I do believe if Nasrat shows up with a high pressure, I think he would break John Makdessi at some point in this fight. And if he doesn't break him, it should just be a mandatory decision based on output, aggressiveness, octagon control, damage. Yeah, Nasrat really should win this matchup. So that's got to be my pick. I have to side with Nasrat. It's more his time. It's not John Makdessi's time. Alright, moving into a matchup between Alessio Di Chirico taking on Roman Kopylov. And this one is essentially a pick'em matchup. Arguably the biggest pick'em on this card. You could say Charles Jourdain and Nathaniel Wood is also a good pick'em. But the difference here is Nathaniel Wood and Charles Jourdain, that's a pick'em because they're both very good. This one's a pick'em because, you know, they're not that impressive. Roman Kopylov's been in the UFC for a while and he's only had 2 fights. And in both the fights, It's not good enough. Alessio Di Chirico, kinda a jack of all trades, you know. The boxing's not overly impressive, but he will stick a jab in your face. His wrestling's not super good, but he will push you against the fence, look for control at times. He did head kick Buckley, but then the MMA gods was like, you know, it's Abdul Razak's turn. We're going to kick you in the head. So yeah, on this one, I think it's a pick and match up. I wouldn't lay any money on Alessio. I definitely wouldn't lay money on Roman Kopylov. I don't really want to make a pick, but I'm going to make a pick. I'm going to side with Roman Kopylov to show something. Show some combat sambo, show some grappling. But the performance might be lackluster, just like his last two performances. His only performances in the UFC, they haven't been good. It's a pick 'em. Don't bet this one. I'm picking Roman Kopylov, not for any really good reasons. It's a pick 'em. Alright, moving into the co-main event, we've got Robert Whittaker taking on Marvin Vettori. Guys, I've come to the conclusion that Robert Whittaker will only lose if it's Israel Adesanya. You know, listen to all of these names. Brad Tavares, Uriah Hall, Derek Brunson, Jacare, Romero twice, Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, KG. Robert Whittaker only loses to his dad, you know, Israel Adesanya. I think Marvin Vettori, he's good. He's a scrapper. He's got a meathead, you know, takes all the shots, still walks forward. Marvin Vettori has also lost 2 times to his dad, Israel Adesanya. You know, I think this matchup kind of makes sense, seeing as they both lose to Israel, right? But I think Robert Whittaker, he only loses to Israel. And Marvin Vettori is not Israel Adesanya. He's not as technically gifted. He's not a good calf kicker. He might try to wrestle Robert Whittaker, but Robert's a really good wrestler. He's got that karate stance. And that karate stance seems to be the second most difficult style to deal with. Or maybe you could chuck in, you know, Alex Pereira. His style right now is pretty difficult. But yeah, like I said, Robert Whittaker only seems to lose to Israel Adesanya, and Marvin Vettori is nowhere near the level of Israel Adesanya. So my prediction will have to be Robert Whittaker to just kind of outclass Marvin Vettori with that karate stance. I'm Team Bobby Knuckles on this one. Let's go. Alright, moving into the main event, we've got Ciryl Gane taking on Tai Tuivasa. Hey, Tai, don't ever disrespect me or my community looking like Fred Flintstone drinking beer from a shoe. I'm down with it. I'm only joking. I'm down with it. Now, guys, I'm a big fan of Bam Bam Tuivasa. I bet on him against Augusto Sakai. I bet on him against Derek Lewis. I did bet Greg Hardy, which Greg kind of stunned him to start the fight, but then just got dusted, right? Tai Tuivasa, he will dust ya. And Tai Tuivasa, man, he's all about the Muay Thai. You know, blast the calf kick, blast the elbow. But here's the big problem with this matchup. Ciryl Gane, he's about Muay Thai, but he's about the lightness. This guy's so quick. He's so quick. And that's going to be the main trouble for Tai Tuivasa. You know, it's just being able to land your shots. Ciryl Gane's too quick. Then he starts to switch stances, you know, shows you a different look. And the kicks are so quick. He's so light. And it's difficult to land your shots. So if you put a gun to my head and I had to make a pick, I'd say there's a 80% chance that Ciryl Gane wins the fight. So for that reason, I'm going to pick Ciryl Gane to win this fight. His lightness is too much. Switching of stances, too quick, too agile. And you look at the opponents that Tai beat, Stefan Struve. He's a giraffe that's just stood there. Harry Hunsucker, one of the worst. One of the very worst. Derek Lewis doesn't have good movement, has bad cardio. That's a one-round fighter. But this time round, guys, I do believe Ciryl Gane's going to be too quick for Tai Tuivasa. He's not going to be there to eat those big shots the way these other opponents have. You know, there's levels to striking, and Ciryl Gane's right at the very top. Now, if you do want to make a bet on Tai Tuivasa, in my opinion, skip the submission, skip the decision, and go straight for the TKO, because that's what Tai Tuivasa's looking to do. And that's what he has to do if he wants to win this main event. But yeah, my prediction with this main event, I would have to side with Ciryl Gane. I think he's too quick, too light, and just levels above Tai Tuivasa. Alright, be sure to drop down your main event, your co-main event, your parlays, your underdogs, your MoneyCity plays. Drop all of that. And as always, keep your eyes to the sky, never glued to your shoes. Mac Miller. Alright, peace.